Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our January monthly meeting. At this time, call the roll, Mr. Baxter.
Mr. Jewell,
Here.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Here.
Mrs. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Milligan,
Here.
and Mrs. Morris.
Here.
At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to stand to pledge allegiance to the flag.
It's over.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Missy for student recognition.
The board is excited tonight to recognize some of our junior high and high school students that have excelled so far this year, and we welcome them and their parents. And I'd like to introduce Dan Turner, our principal for the junior high.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to bring up some students tonight who were the students of the month in the month of September through December. So with that being said, we'd like to bring them up here, and the board was so gracious enough tonight to just honor these kids. The parents are very proud. We're very proud of them. They were elected by their teachers and voted on them, so we just want to bring them up here and want to recognize them on the board. So that being said, in September, our students of the month, if you would come up and just line up for maybe parents to get a picture up here or whatever. So September students of the month is Luke Richards and Edie Irons. Our October, Abby Prater and Gabe Morris. For November, Blake Carl and Catherine Goins. I'm sorry. She's got a fan club. Us too. In December, Josie Johnson and Cassidy Lamb. Parents, if you'd like to go over and get a picture, you're more welcome to. But we want to thank everyone. Well, thanks to all the parents that came out tonight also. Thank you.
He works at the hospital.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Thanks for
Great job.
I'll give that to your mom.
Next, I'd like to bring up our high school principal, Mr. Andrew Hubert.
Thank you, Mr. Turner, and thank you to the Board of Education for allowing me the opportunity today. You know, as the first semester comes to an end, one of the things that we always want to do is celebrate our accomplishments. And a great piece of accomplishments that we want to celebrate is the fact that we had 49 students. We had 49 students, or approximately 11.4% of our high school students. They received a 4.0 or higher through the first quarter and through the second quarter. So going through the pandemic, there have been a lot of extra barriers that have been placed in front of us, and they've still maintained their focus, they've maintained their dedication, and they're able to go through and get straight A's through the first semester. To kind of break that down a little bit, that's 6 freshmen, 19 sophomores, 8 juniors, and 16 seniors. Not only do these students participate in courses such as College Credit Plus, Advanced Placement, and Honors Level courses. But a lot of these students also participate in extracurricular activities, such as our athletics. Right now, our current seasons with the basketball and the wrestling program, or with cheerleading. And our fine and performing arts, such as band and choir. And the leadership activities, such as National Honor Society and Student Council. And on top of that, some of those students also have jobs, always staying busy. At the high school level, we have 4 pillars that we like to refer to. It's our academics, our athletics, our fine and performing arts, and our community peace. And these 49 students do a fantastic job of representing multiple, if not all, of those pillars. Now, tonight, I did not ask all 49 students to attend, primarily because they're busy with their sports seasons, with their jobs and whatnot. And unfortunately, we do have some students who are a little bit under the weather. But I still want to take the opportunity to recognize them and read their names off to the board. So for our freshman students, we had Emma Campbell, Ross Campbell, Avery Halcomb, Ethan Ham, Cooper Steckel, and Olivia Thorne. For our sophomores, we have Kara Atkins, Cruz Allison, Elise Banks, Wyatt Bennett, Savannah Brown, Kaylin Brown, Ava Carpenter, Aaliyah Clevenger, Ethan Goins, Anna Gross, Miles Irwin, Andrea Jackson, Aiden John, Layla Knapp, Kiara Lewis, Greta Moore, Emma Motley, Connor Rager, and Christopher Talbert. And for our juniors, we have Aurora Adams, Riley Campbell, Sierra Carpenter, Elise Dobbins, Isaac Goins, Grace McIntosh, Anna Reidinger, and Jenna Sandelin. And for our seniors, we have Emily Osera, Solomon Bozer, Alyssa Brooks, Grant Cheney, Riley Cottrell, Courtney Furness, Grace Harmeyer, Kaylee Lawson, Adelaide Lucas, Leah McFadden. I got a 2-pager here, I got to turn that real quick. Caroline Meehan, Alyssa DeCaro, Hannah Ology, Haley Saylor, Derek Sprandel, and Carson Wall. We're very proud of these students, and tomorrow at school, we're going to be sure to properly recognize them with a certificate. And we've already reached out to their families and their parents to let them know this great, amazing accomplishment. So, very proud of our 49 high school students with a 4.0 GPA or higher.
Yeah, if anybody wants to leave now, we're ready to conduct our business. At this time is when we have our visitor comments, but any visitor wants to make a comment, come up to the microphone. Okay, I guess not, so I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer for our treasury report. Mr. Bassett.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Just a couple action items this month. Typically, I give you the non-action item of an audit update, but not a whole lot of action since the last board meeting and this board meeting with the audit, which I'd like to have it done, but I also like not having to chase a whole bunch of information for them every day as well. So kind of a little bit of a lull right now with them asking for information. The audit is still ongoing. Hopefully, by the February meeting, I'll be able to tell you that it's complete and give you results from that audit, hopefully outstanding results from that audit, but we'll see when that time comes. So action items, I need approval for the minutes from the last regularly scheduled board meeting, which is December 13th, as well as our organizational meeting, which was January the 3rd.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. McIntosh. Second by Mrs. Miller. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
And Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
Next, we have the financial report for the month, which again is part of your packet. Not a whole lot of excitement in it. I guess the only excitement for us is the fact that most of our year is done on a school year basis from July 1 to June 30, but we do have a few things that are done January 1 to December 31st. And we were able to get those closed out. We passed out 1099s and W-2s to all of our employees today. Those were printed at the end of last week, so those have been passed out to employees. So other than that, we're proceeding pretty much, I would say, on schedule. There's a few things that are a little above where they need to be and a few things that are a little below where we scheduled, but for the most part, big picture, we're right where we figured we would be at this point.
Need a motion?
So moved.
First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second.
second by
Second.
Amanda. Mrs. Morrison. Sorry. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
And Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you. That's my treasurer's report.
Now you could do the superintendent's report.
Yeah, now I'll turn it over to Dr. Vale. Unfortunately, he's not able to be with us this evening. He had a medical procedure today and thought that he would be able to be here. And as it turns out, he wasn't able to make it. So you're, I don't know, blessed or not so blessed to have me take over his role. I try not to do any impersonations, but I'll try to do my best to take care of his section. So the superintendent's report, the first thing I want to do is the non-action items, and I want to flip 1 and 2 if that's okay. The first thing I'd like to do would be the board appreciation. Every January, the Ohio School Boards Association has the month of January as Board Appreciation Month. You know, being a board member, although you do get paid, it's not really worth the small check that you do get. It's an opportunity for superintendent and treasurer and others to recognize the board, the amount of time that you do put in, the countless hours that you were behind the scenes, whether that's taking phone calls, sending emails, attending events, being on booster clubs, attending community events outside of the school, and all the things that you do to represent the school board here at Carlisle in our community, and the way that you put our children first with the decision that you make. I would think everybody would be kidding yourselves if we all always agreed with each other, but we also have to understand that we're all trying to make the best decision that we can for the children here at Carlisle. And if we all understand that, then we do all get along together because we have goal number 1 in common. So this evening, I do have some certificates that I would like to present to each of the board members. And I think I'll probably just go down to the end and work my way back forward with each of you. And Mrs. Morris, hey, you've been on the board for a few weeks, and wow, appreciation that we show for you. So
Thank you.
the plaques that we have for each board member is a certificate of appreciation for all that you have done and you're going to do
Thank you.
as a board member here at Carlisle. Kelly, super appreciation for everything that you're involved in here. Missy, same way, everything that you're involved in here. Got them out of order. Mr. Jewell, thank you very much. We also have a sign tonight in the background that's celebrating school boards. Molly, thank you very much. So once again, I just want to say, representing the school, that we appreciate all the time, all the effort, all the decision-making, sometimes all of the frustration under some circumstances and everything that you do, all the decisions that you make to make Carlisle the great school district that we have here. So thank you very much. I'll clap by myself. Okay, so next thing under Dr. Vale's report is a buildings update. Not a whole lot going on with the buildings right now. We've pretty much finished up the punch lists. We did have a construction meeting last Wednesday. We have 1 or 2 more scheduled right now to finish up. Right now, we're in the phase of the project that's called the financial closeout. So our construction manager is finalizing everything financially. I think we're going to have maybe 1 more bill to pay for the project, and the project will be completely finished. My hope is then, because we're using some of the interest earnings that was earned during the project, that we'll figure out what type of interest earnings we still have left available to use for some other projects. Specifically some outdoor type projects that we might be talking about in the future. So as far as the buildings go, I think we're starting to figure them out and how to use them to the best of our ability. I think it's going to also change over time and try different areas and try different things, but I think administrators are getting used to the building, and I think teachers are getting more used to the building and try to make it as efficient as possible and get used to what we have here and use our space to the best of our ability for our kids. So we'll just keep doing the best we can. So action items. First, we have the calendars, which, if you remember, we had a calendar hearing prior to the organizational meeting back in January. We have 2 calendars, one for 2022-23 school year, and also one for the 2023-24 school year that was voted on by the staff here at school and presented to you now for approval. And then the second thing is a trip for the band in February with no cost to the district except the driver.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. McIntosh. Second by Mrs. Milligan. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
And Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Next, we have a classified resignation. Lisa Pickett has left as the executive assistant to the superintendent and has taken another job in another district. And we are moving some of our current staff around to fill that position as it is.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First
So moved.
by Mrs. Morris, second by Mrs. Milligan. Or,
Yeah, it's fine.
I know it comes from that direction.
Are we going with Milligan?
Yeah.
Okay,
Morris and Milligan.
got it. Roll call. Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
And Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
Next is classified employment, hiring as a classified sub, retroactive back to January 12th. We needed them badly, and they've already begun working, so need your official approval.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Miller,
Second.
second by Mrs. McIntosh. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Morris.
Yes.
Next, we have a supplemental resignation as the junior high PBIS coordinator.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second.
second by Mrs. Morris. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
And Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
And then lastly, of the action items, we have supplemental employment one to replace our special ed representative on our instructional leadership team, and then one to replace the junior high PBIS coordinator.
Need a motion?
So moved.
First by Mrs. Miller,
Second.
second by Mrs. Milligan. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh.
Yes.
Thank you. That's Dr. Vale's report for this evening.
For the Board of Education, we need a legislative report.
Right now, currently what's going through is the redistricting. The lines, it was done and then it was found, Supreme Court found that it was not able to do it that way, so that's what they're working on right now. That's the big thing that's been reported out. Thank you.
I guess we don't have a CTC report, or
We do not have a CTC report.
any old business? Any new business? Then I guess we need to adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Mrs. McIntosh,
Second.
second by Mrs. Milligan. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
and Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
Time of adjournment is 6:21.